Did you know that some seemingly harmless daily habits, common among older adults, can subtly complicate their lives? If you're between 65 and 80 years old, this information serves as a genuine call to awareness. We will explore 5 unexpected aspects that many seniors continue to practice. These actions might appear minor or insignificant, yet they actually prevent you from fully living your best years with confidence and inner peace. We're not talking about the advice you've heard countless times. These are subtle, often unnoticed habits that gradually shape a person's aging process on mental, physical, and emotional levels. This isn't meant to be judgmental, but rather to help you gain greater strength, wisdom, and control over your own time. So, if you've ever wondered what simple choices might be robbing you of joy, independence, or health, pay close attention. What you learn today can help you avoid future regrets. And trust me, the last point is something the vast majority of people completely overlook. Missing it would be a serious mistake. First, clinging to old resentments. One of the most destructive habits people carry into their 60s, 70s, and even 80s is stubbornly holding onto old grudges. Whether the family conflict from years ago, a friend who betrayed your trust, or a neighbor who once said something offensive, these resentments live not only in your memory, but also in your body. Over time, they begin to destroy you from within. You might argue, but I have every right to be angry. Perhaps you do. However, here's the truth. The person who hurt you may have long forgotten the incident. They might not even remember what happened. Meanwhile, you continue to carry this heavy burden, replaying that pain in your mind again and again. Bitterness doesn't harm the person who wronged you. It harms only you. It poisons the heart, ruins conversations, and can even negatively impact physical health by raising stress levels and inflammation in the body. Imagine dragging a heavy suitcase everywhere you go. At some point, that suitcase becomes so unbearable that you stop enjoying the journey itself. The energy you spend on anger steals the strength you could use for healing, laughter, meaningful connections, and finding joy in your remaining years. There was a 79-year-old man who hadn't spoken to his sister in over 30 years. They had argued over an inheritance and parted in anger. When asked if he missed her, he replied, "Every day." But his pride wouldn't let him make the call. After a long conversation, he finally dialed her number, and that call changed everything. They didn't resolve all their disagreements, but they laughed, cried, and finally said what needed to be said. He felt lighter than he had in years. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or excusing someone's actions. It means deciding that your inner peace is far more important than the pain. It means choosing freedom over the prison of resentment. Even if the other person isn't ready for reconciliation, forgiving them in your heart can still set you free. Let go, not for them, but for yourself. You've carried this burden for too long. It's time to put it down and walk forward unburdened. Second, neglecting your appearance. Too many older adults fall into the trap of thinking, why bother anymore? When it comes to how they look, they stop caring for their hair or clothes that no longer fit well, and pass by the mirror as if it no longer matters. But here's the truth. How you look still impacts how you feel. The moment you stop caring about your appearance is often the moment you start giving up on yourself internally. This isn't about chasing fleeting youth or pretending to be someone else. It's about maintaining your dignity and self-respect. When you look in the mirror and see a neat, well-groomed, tidy person, you remind yourself that you still matter, that you're needed in this world, and that you have value. And with each passing year, this reminder becomes even more important. Think about how you feel after a fresh haircut, how your mood lifts when you put on a favorite outfit, or simply take the time to wash and moisturize your skin. This isn't about vanity, it's about vitality. These small actions send a signal to your brain. You are still living, not just existing. And this reflects in everything: your posture, confidence, desire to leave the house, and interact with others. A 76-year-old woman once confessed she hadn't worn lipstick in years. "It doesn't matter anymore," she said. But after a friend persuaded her to try a shade she used to love, her face literally lit up. "I didn't realize how much I missed myself," she admitted. One tube of lipstick reminded her that she was still here, still beautiful, still worthy of attention. Neglecting your appearance often leads to isolation, low spirits, and a feeling of fading into the shadows. But self-care, even in small ways, brings you back to life. It tells the world and yourself you're still in the game. So, take pride in your appearance. Wear colors that lift your spirits. Trim your beard. Put on earrings, not to impress anyone, but to honor the amazing life you've lived and the one you continue to live. Third, acting like you're always right. One of the most frustrating aspects of aging is the feeling of no longer being listened to. This is why many older adults feel the need to prove they are right. You start interrupting conversations, dismissing others' opinions, or insisting your way is the only correct one. But do you know what this leads to? Not respect, but making you difficult to be around. True wisdom isn't about knowing all the answers. It's about understanding when to speak and when to listen. Wisdom is the ability to accept that the world keeps changing and there's always something new to learn. If you cling too tightly to the desire to be right, you close the door to new conversations, fresh ideas, and even personal growth. The most unpleasant part is that you push people away without realizing it. There's nothing wrong with having strong opinions. You have decades of experience, and your voice truly deserves attention. But if every conversation turns into an argument about who's smarter, it exhausts those around you. Over time, people simply stop engaging with you. Not because you're wrong, but because it's too hard to talk to someone unwilling to yield on anything. There was an 81-year-old man, as intelligent as ever, but terribly lonely. His daughter said, "He's brilliant, but he always has to be right." Over time, friends stopped visiting, grandchildren avoided calling, and he couldn't understand why. But when he finally let go of the need to be the smartest person in the room, everything changed. He started listening more, laughing more, and reconnected with the people he had missed so much in his life. Being wise doesn't mean correcting everyone around you. It means having the grace to sometimes stay silent, to let others speak without interrupting, to allow your children or grandchildren to teach you something, even if you already know it. Sometimes people just need to be heard, not corrected. Humility is a quiet strength, and the older you get, the more you appreciate it. So, let go of the need to always be right. Choose connection over argument, and you'll notice people gravitating back to you. Not because you changed your views, but because you opened your heart. Fourth, refusing to try new things. As we age, it's easy to fall into a routine trap. We eat the same foods, watch the same shows, and interact with the same people, if we interact at all. Familiar surroundings can provide comfort, but they can also subtly drain your energy and joy. Refusing to try new things is one of the most underestimated mistakes older adults make. And unfortunately, they often realize it too late. Life doesn't stop being interesting after 65. On the contrary, this stage can be one of the freest. There are no more bosses, no young children to raise, and no need to prove anything to anyone. But if you stop exploring the world, you begin to shrink it. Your conversations become monotonous, your social circle smaller, and your mind less flexible. New experiences don't have to be grand or expensive. It could be something simple: learning to use a tablet, taking a new walking route, signing up for a watercolor class at the local community center, or joining a group that simply meets and talks once a week. The point isn't what you do. The point is that you try something new. Your brain, like your muscles, weakens without exercise. If you immerse yourself in established routines day after day, over time, not only does memory sharpness gradually fade, but so does inner confidence. You start doubting your own abilities, avoiding change, and subtly, fear begins to dominate your existence. There was a widow in her 70s who had never held a smartphone in her life. Her grandson gave her a phone and offered to teach her. At first, she resisted. "That's for young people," she said. But one day she decided to try. Within a few months, she was sending voice messages, ordering groceries online, and even video calling her old school friends. She said she felt alive again, not because the phone was special, but because she proved to herself she was still capable of growing. Age is by no means a barrier to maintaining curiosity. The moment you say, "That's not for me," you begin to limit the horizons of your own world. But these boundaries can turn into a real prison. Open the door, say yes to something new, not because you have to, but because you can. You are still here, and that means life is still ready to offer you amazing discoveries. Fifth, acting like you don't need help. One of the most dangerous habits many people over 65 begin to develop is creating the appearance of complete self-sufficiency. Whether it's pride, fear of becoming a burden, or an unwillingness to accept their age, too many older adults silently endure difficulties, mistakenly believing that asking for help is a sign of weakness. But, refusing help is not a display of strength. On the contrary, it's a hidden form of self-destructive behavior. You've lived a long life, raised children, worked hard, experienced losses, and overcome challenges. You've earned the right to lean on others when necessary. Yet, for some reason, many older adults believe that asking for help is a sign of failure. They don't tell their doctor about new symptoms, try to climb ladders themselves, drive when their vision is failing, or carry heavy bags even if their knees protest. And too often, this ends in falls, health problems, or avoidable stress. Asking for help doesn't mean surrendering. It's, on the contrary, a demonstration of control over the situation, a display of common sense. It means you care enough about yourself and those who love you to stay safe, healthy, and connected with loved ones. You are not a burden. You are an invaluable asset to your family and friends. And when you allow them to help, you don't lose independence. Instead, you strengthen it. There's another important point. When you reject help, you deny others the opportunity to feel needed. Think about it. People, especially younger ones, want to be useful to you. When your daughter offers to buy groceries, your neighbor to help with leaves in the yard, or your grandchild to figure out the computer, your acceptance builds bridges of understanding. It gives them a sense of their own significance, and it gives you the warmth of knowing you are cared for. Take, for example, a 74-year-old man. He always used to fix everything himself. But last year, after a bad fall from a ladder, he finally asked his nephew to help him clean the gutters. Not only did they do it safely, but they also went to lunch together afterward and grew closer again. One simple yes transformed into something more: trust, renewed communication, and an important reminder that life's journey should not be walked alone. You have proven your strength many times over. Now, demonstrate your wisdom. Learn to recognize the moment when you should say, "Yes, I could use some help." This doesn't weaken you. On the contrary, it makes you wiser, brings you closer to people, and gives you true strength. Final thoughts. At this stage of life, you have earned not only a comfortable existence, but also clarity of perception. And sometimes, clarity means being able to pause and recognize the actions we continue to perform out of inertia, fear, or stubbornness. Each topic discussed today might seem insignificant individually, but collectively, they shape the reality you face every morning. If you're between 65 and 80, it's not too late to adjust your course. Moreover, the present moment is the most opportune. The aging process does not mean you're doomed to remain forever trapped by your habits. On the contrary, it signifies that you have gained wisdom. And wisdom is, in essence, the ability to reflect, adapt, and continuously grow. Therefore, when we talk about stopping these foolish things, it's not an accusation, but merely shining a light on habits that subtly steal your energy, confidence, and joy of being. And once you clearly recognize them, you gain the power to take appropriate action. Each of us has invisible habits that pull us down far more than we realize, but you don't have to carry them forever. The moment you become aware of one, you can release it and feel significant relief. And then something amazing happens. You start smiling more often, breathing more freely, and your sleep becomes more peaceful. You remember again what it's like to truly enjoy life, not just exist. Ask yourself, which of these habits have you considered insignificant until now, and what will happen if you finally decide to let it go? This simple realization, this moment of honesty with yourself, This is where true freedom begins. You still have so many untapped opportunities and precious time ahead. Do not let outdated habits, rigid beliefs, or misplaced pride steal a single minute of this invaluable period from you. You are not alone on this life journey. There are others, just as wise, thoughtful, and determined to step towards a lighter, more joyful, and fulfilling life. The provided text has been fully translated in the previous response. There is no further content to translate. The provided text has been fully translated in the previous response. There is no further content to translate. The provided text has been fully translated. There is no remaining content to translate. The provided text has been fully translated. There is no remaining content to translate. The provided text has been fully translated. There is no remaining content to translate.